Hello, everyone. Welcome. Appreciate you joining. This is the first session of Map to Cap. If you don't know me, my name is Mike Arko. I've been licensed since February 2019. Say for the first 6 months, I would say I was just a part-time agent. Sold a couple houses to some friends, family members. Hi. Sold a couple houses to some friends and family members. I think before I decided to make the jump to full time, I only closed like 3 or 4 properties. So I did that for 6 months. Decided that I wanted to make a change career-wise and jump into this full time. So September, so just a little bit over 2 years of me being full time. So September 2019, I made the full jump. At the time, I had 0 pending deals. I had 0 people in my seller pipeline. I had 1 buyer that I met at an open house that she was approved for like $75,000, and she was looking for a house that was worth $300 based off of her criteria. So I'm sure you understand how that went. I'm sure we've all been there as well. So I really started full time from absolutely the ground up and built something, moving up. So what we're here to talk today about is your driving force, your purpose, motivation. Really what that is your why. Does everyone kind of have an idea of what their why is? Because for me, it's looking back on it now, I understood what my why was at certain points of my life. But like when people kept saying your why is what drives you, your why is what motivates you. It was really challenging for me to like really identify it. Does anyone want to share what they believe their why currently is?
Well, currently, my why is spend more time with my wife and grandkids.
Awesome.
My kids are grown, so
Yeah. So spending more time with your wife and grandkids. Awesome. That's what's good about that is it's specific,
right?
And there's certain things that you have to do to get there.
Exactly.
Anyone else? I mean, I hear all the time.
I mean, I love my kids.
Oh, sure. No. I totally get it. 100% understand where you're coming from. I hear a lot of people say, well, my why is my family. That's great. I'm sure a lot of people's whys are their family or some way related to their family. But what is the core of it? What's the core of what your why is? That's what we need to identify. Because it's your family, but why is it your family? What is it that you want to do with your family? What is it that you want to provide for your family? So like you had mentioned, you want to spend more time with your wife and your grandkids. Okay, so we need to figure out how you can get there, what you can do. And your why can always be changing. Quick example, when I was in high school, my why was to buy a boat. I was 18, had no idea, didn't know any better. My why was to buy a boat. I couldn't afford a boat. I ended up settling for a jet ski and I was happy. A couple other examples. When I went to college, my why was to get a job with one specific company. It's called Henry Schein Dental. I wanted to be in dental. I wanted to be in medical sales, some sort of medical sales, just because I thought that would provide me a great, financial benefits. But my why was focused specifically on this company and just getting the job. It wasn't about what's going to happen when I get the job. How will that affect me once I get the job? All it was getting the job. By any stretch of the imagination, whatever it is that I had to do, wherever I had to go, I ended up moving to Indianapolis, Indiana, born and raised in Cleveland. My entire family's here. My wife's from here. My family business, is up here. So moving to a different state was, wasn't really what I wanted to do, but ultimately I wanted a job with that company. I only worked for them for 4 months. Wow. Because once I got the job, it's like, okay, great. Now what? Where do I go from here? Kelly.
Hi.
So having your why not necessarily be an object or, just one place to go. It's got to have, a good, solid foundation to where it's really going to not only affect your life, but the lives of people that you love. So identifying it, that's really the first step, in the process. And it could be one of the most difficult steps in that process. So, a couple things that I just wrote down as far as how to identify your why, what you need to do to identify your why. You really want it to be specific. This is a difficult job that we have. Why do you wake up in the morning and come to work? There's a reason for it. Is it fair to say we all want to make money?
Yeah.
Okay. What do we want to do with that money? Yeah.
Was that a rhetorical question?
It's not really. Yeah, it should be an open discussion.
I want to someday be able to invest in my own real estate and
It's awesome.
make a business that way.
So you want to invest in real estate, like buy rental properties or flips or?
Yeah, or things like that. I guess even my own house,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Okay. Did anyone else get into real estate because they wanted to be an investor? I got my license because I said, I'm going to flip a couple houses and not have to pay realtor fees. That's the reason I got my license. So 2.5 years later, here we are teaching a class on, trying to identify what your sole purpose is. And so another question that you want to ask, what does happiness look like to you? Is it making a ton of money? Is it providing for your family? Is it driving an awesome car? Buying a sweet pair of Jordans? These are all like, everybody's different. Having really nice clothes and a nice car and a nice house, that could definitely, be something to drive you. So these are all things definitely you want to think about and consider. All right, everyone that just came in, I don't know you. My name is Mike Arko. I've been licensed for just over 2 years, or full-time for just over 2 years. I was licensed for about 6 months prior to that. Today we're talking about your why, identifying your why, goal setting, holding yourself accountable, all that fun stuff. Has anyone here ever been to Bold or been through that class? Okay. I'm going to reference a lot of things from Bold today, just because that's really the class that completely changed my mindset about everything. It changed my life. And if you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. You will walk away. You'll walk away a better person. You'll walk away a better agent. You'll be way more motivated. You'll have a full understanding of really what it is that you have to do to be successful in this business or any business. So I use a lot of Bold references, and as you see on the back of the wall, there's some Bold laws that are all throughout the building, and they're things that you really should think about. As you look at any obstacle in your life. So, is there anyone else that wants to share what their why is? Someone wants to invest in real estate. Does anyone want to provide something for their family? Got someone that wants to spend more time with their family. All right, so I'll share mine. As I mentioned, when I was in high school, I wanted to buy a boat. When I graduated from college and after I got my job and moved back, my why was I wanted to be able to afford the engagement ring that my wife wanted. I spent hours, weeks, months hustling vehicles on the side of what my job was to be able to buy cars, fix them up, sell them so that I could have side money to pay for my wife's engagement ring, the vendors that we wanted. that year that I was doing that, I sold 19 vehicles on the side of what I was doing full time. Just complete side work, made a ton of money doing it. Year after I got the ring, the year after the wedding, I was newlywed, we were in our house. I had no purpose, I had no driving force. There was nothing that really motivated me to do anything. I only sold 2 vehicles that year on the side, and they were deals that just fell in my lap. I didn't go out and try and make anything happen. So it's important to have that purpose, that driving force to motivate you to really be, you know, the most successful person you could be, the best person you could be. But going on, leaning more towards what my why is I want to make sure it's all obviously all related to my family. I want to make sure that I can provide an education for my children. I've got twins on the way. I've got a 1.5-year-old baby, so my house is going to be a little bit crazy for the next few years. I want to make sure that my wife never has to focus or scratch her head about any financial decision moving forward. She used to go get her nails done every 2 weeks. It cost about like $40 each time she went. She never felt guilty about it. Once we had our son, COVID happened. We found out we were then having twins. She completely stopped going. And it was actually a couple of weeks ago I noticed, I'm like, you know, Bria, you haven't gone and gotten your nails done in, you know, since Madden was born. Our son's name is Madden. And she's like, well, it's $40 each time I go. I don't want to have to spend, I don't have to, you know, it's, we have too much going on. We have twins on the way. We need to buy cribs, you know. It's just not a good financial, you know, investment to make right now. And that really it really struck me deep down because I knew that she was scratching her head about our finances, and I never want her to be in that position to do that. So I told her, enough of that. You're going to go from now on. You're going to go every 2 weeks. I've made the appointments for her. I don't want money to be a concern for her, you know, with things that she enjoys doing, you know, her daily life. I don't ever want her to scratch her head on should I or should I not do this because of a monetary reason. Obviously, we don't want her going crazy and getting 4 packages instead of 3 every day from Amazon, but I think you guys understand the, you know, the point that I'm trying to make. So I want to make sure that I can provide an education for my family, and I want to make sure that my family can live comfortably without having to worry about any monetary decisions, you know, affecting their personal life. So if we have our why, if we understand what our why is, we then need to focus on our mindsets. They say it in bold, 90% of your business is your mindset. That couldn't be more true. Out of this group, how many, you know, since we're in real estate and we're discussing real estate, how many of you guys actively prospect, look for buyers and sellers, make cold calls, do, you know, the dirty work that nobody really likes to do? I'm on the phones every single day, getting yelled and screamed at by people and hung up on and all that good stuff. Now, no human is ever perfect, and there's so many days where I'll just get beat up on the phones, and I'll ask myself why. What is it that I did that caused me to not, you know, overcome these objections? Or why didn't I have more fight? Why didn't I, you know, have more determination to get that appointment, or even to set myself up for follow-up? And my coach always tells me, you had a bad mindset that day. You woke up, you knew that people were going to give you a hard time, and you just didn't want to do it. You never want to do it, but, you know, also at the same time, you've got to have a positive mindset prior to making those difficult phone calls or having those difficult conversations. And if you do have that good mindset, it's amazing on how much different your performance and how much different your activity is going to be. So, yeah, I said it before, 90% of your business is your mindset. And if that's something that you focus on, it's pretty amazing on what the results really could look like. So a question that I always ask myself is, what stops you from making goals that you set? Now, has anyone ever done the business planning clinic? We've got that coming up soon. It's something you absolutely need to attend. If there's, I don't know if there's any seats available. And we can ask the girls at the front if there's still seats available for it, or if it's going to be virtual or whatever. But it's definitely something you need to. I highly recommend you participating in. This is something that helps you put your business plan in place for the entire year. It helps you set goals, and at that point, then it's your job moving forward to make sure that you're holding yourself accountable to those goals. A question I always ask is, what's stopping you from making your goals? Is it fear? Is it fear of rejection? Is it not enough time? Anyone have anything?
Probably just like fear of not reaching those goals.
Okay. Great. Unknown. Be more specific.
When I guess if I do what I'm supposed to do, will I actually, like what you said, will I actually get to that goal? If I'm making these calls, will I see the results? Because I've been doing it for this amount of time, I haven't seen something. So I guess that pushback, that rejection that you get.
Okay. Sure. And how long have you been doing it?
Not long enough.
How long?
Cold calling?
Yeah. Well, just how long have you been in this business?
6.5 months.
Colleen, how long were you in the business before you sold your first house?
Probably 3 months.
Okay. Is there anyone that hasn't sold a property yet that's new, that's only been in this for a couple of months? How long have you been in?
90 days.
90 days? Okay. So I was fortunate enough to have a very close friend who wanted to buy a house right when I got licensed. And that time that I was part-time, I really don't even count that as me being an agent, because I wasn't doing the daily activities that you need to do. I usually say my start date was September 2019, when I started with absolutely no, as I mentioned before, zero impending, zero people in my pipeline besides the one unicorn buyer that I had that didn't end up buying anything. It took me 4 months to close my first deal, and it was a house for $105,000. So between the commission that I got with that, and then the split with your cap, I think I ended up walking away with like $1,200 or $1,300. So yeah, I mean this takes time, and success happens gradually and suddenly. So yeah, you're always in here working, so keep it up. All right. So as far as like having a positive mindset, any suggestions on what to do to, I guess, create that good positive energy? So there's a few things that I do each morning that definitely helps me, and when I don't, you see the results. It's good to have a morning routine. You should always have a morning routine. You master the morning, you master the day. I mean, it's a simple law. Master the morning, master the day. I think it was what's his last name? Obleton. It was at the summer masterminds. He said, master the morning, master the day, master your Monday, master your week. And that was just it's something that you knew, but once you actually hear it, then it makes so much more sense. And it's something since then that I've always followed. There's not been a Monday since that event that I haven't gotten up at 4:50 in the morning to go be at the gym by 5:30. There hasn't been one Monday that I've missed. There hasn't been one Monday that I haven't been here on the phone by 9 o'clock. So if you could start your morning routine, start your day off, on a good note, that's going to help everything else throughout the rest of your day, especially in the mornings if you do make calls, or if you do whatever it is, the productive actions that you do, throughout the day. Having that morning routine is going to be very, very critical. Couple other things that I wrote down as far as, what actions you can take as far as having a good mindset. Does anyone here practice or do affirmations? As silly as they may sound, as silly as they may be. Does anyone know who the guy Logan Paul is, that YouTuber guy? There's one thing that he said that I actually, can take seriously is when he moved to Los Angeles, he looked at himself in the mirror every morning when he woke up and every night before he went to sleep. And he said, I will be the greatest entertainer in the world. He repeated it to himself 10 different times.
What's his name?
His name's Logan Paul. He's not someone I recommend looking into or whatever, but he had something that made a lot of sense. He said something that made a lot of sense. Most kids under the age of 18 years old know exactly who he is. He's all over YouTube. Guy's worth millions. So saying affirmations, it's a real thing and it's a productive thing. In the car on my way here, when I'm listening to whatever crazy music I decide to listen to that day, I pump my chest and I tell myself, I'm a good salesperson, I'm a good business person, and I'm gonna kick ass today. Before I get out of the car and walk into the office, I say it every single day. So it helps, it helps. And when you don't do those things, you can tell the difference.
So this might be like a silly question, but
Yeah.
I know sometimes you just have to say it up until you believe it, kind of make it until you make it. So what about the days where you're kind of waking up already? Maybe something happened the previous day or something, and you're saying it, but you don't really feel it. Like, how do you kind of work around it?
I mean, yeah, it's tough. We're all human. What happened yesterday is done. Yesterday, I'm going to quote something from my fraternity. Yesterday is gone forever. Yesterday is gone forever. Forget that. Something I had to memorize back in my pledging days. But yeah, it's a new day. You can either let it affect you, in a negative way, or you can forget about it, and you can tell yourself what you believe, what you should believe is true. I'm sure that there's an old proverb that says if you say it enough, then you'll eventually believe it, or it eventually will become true. So that's kind of what you got to do. You got to put it aside and focus on your why, focus on the goal, and move forward with it. So yeah, affirmations are definitely important. One of the biggest things I think that helped me was making small goals and then celebrating small wins. I think when I got my first, after being full-time, when I got my first deal under contract, my coach, Eric, he's like, awesome, how are you going to celebrate? Like, it's $100,000 house that I'm barely going to make any money on. Like, I don't know. He's like, it doesn't matter. You have to celebrate this. He made me go to, I think I went to Heinz. He made me go to Heinz, buy cheesecake, and send him a picture that I was celebrating my house being under contract, no matter how small it was. So, and that really, that hit me, because it's like, all right, I like cheesecake. Who doesn't like cheesecake? I got to keep, moving forward and keep doing little things. If I want to accomplish my big goals, I have to keep doing little things so that I can get in, a momentum, get in a groove of winning. Because Victoria, as you mentioned, there's some days that you might wake up and not really believe it. At the same time, you're probably just not there yet. And you just got to keep, looking for small wins so that it becomes a habit. Winning becomes a habit, and eventually, once you keep getting your small wins, you're going to get a lot bigger wins, and you're going to be able to achieve your 5-year goal, your 1-year goal, your 1-month goal. That's another point that we're going to talk about is goal setting and what that looks like and what that should look like for you. Anything else about positive mindsets? You want to build good habits. Building good habits is possibly, affirmations is a habit, telling yourself affirmations every single day. But yeah, building good habits, will definitely affect the outcome of your entire life, not only your business, but your entire life. I have a habit tracker that I use every single week. I write down 6 different things that I want to do, and then I track like if I did them each day, what steps I took each day, something that holds me accountable and makes sure that I'm doing, the things that I need to be doing. Am I waking up, at 4:50 a.m. to get to the gym at 5? Am I drinking 100 ounces of water a day? Little things, like that. Am I making 50 dials a day, 10 contacts a day? Those are my two. That's how I set my goals as far as contacts and dials and when I'm doing my lead generation. I gotta hit at least both of those. If I get 10 contacts on 10 dials, which never happens, never will happen, I'm still dialing until I get to 50. So I always make sure that I hit 10 people a day and that I do at least 50 dials a day. So building habits is going to be super important to fulfilling those small goals and getting those small wins, and having a good mindset. So as far as goal setting, and accountability, does everyone have their goals for the year set, or their goals for the month set, or their goals for the week set? I know we'll talk about this a lot in our business planning clinic, but has anyone actually written those down that they might want to share?
Oh, no.
Oh, but you have your goals written down, right? Do you have a 5-year goal?
I have a 2 and a 5-year goal.
Awesome. Good for you. Do you have weekly goals that support that 2-year goal and a 5-year goal?
Not yet.
Okay. So in order to go big, which is what probably your 5-year is, you just said, you gotta start small. So I'm not afraid to share mine. You want your goals to be so big that people are gonna laugh at you. And I'll tell you a quick story. Because once I made this goal, my coach rose his eyebrows and said, okay, we got a lot of work to do. In 5 years, I want to be able, between real estate investing, real estate sales, and whatever businesses I end up, working in, if I end up investing in something else, my goal is to make $500,000 a year in 5 years. And his eyes got really wide. He's like, okay, we got work to do, and that's awesome. I told that goal to someone who's very, very important to me, and they laughed and they said, keep dreaming, buddy.
Oh, wow. He's not your friend.
And I laughed back at him and I said, I just got to keep working, and I'll get there. I don't have to dream. I just have to work. I mean, it's as simple as that. And I'll never forget that. I'm sorry.
Give you more time.
What's that?
Anybody that speak negative against the vision you have, that's an identity they're not for you.
Yeah.
So to give yourself more time to do what you need to do, cut them off.
Yeah.
Cut them off because you take no time for you achieving your goal.
You hit it right on the head.
Right.
So
If you don't support your vision, he's your enemy.
absolutely.
So that's good.
Yeah. Cutting ties with toxic is it's a very, very good thing. I'm glad you said that. Because when I started doing this full time back in September, I had a friend that was really, really close to me. My first friend that I made in high school, studied abroad with him. He tragically lost his mother. Was there with him the whole time. I love this kid till this day. But there was too much negativity, and it wasn't, I don't want to say it was a toxic relationship, but there was just too much negativity in my life where I needed no negativity and I needed to be positive. I decided to part ways with that friend, and still love him dearly. But it's a really, really important thing that you do. If someone doesn't support your vision, if someone doesn't support your goals, not saying you have to declare war with them or anything like that, but yeah, you need to move on from them. I mean, Gary Vee says it all the time. I don't know if any of you guys listen to Barry Ganachek. He preaches that, getting rid of that getting rid of that in your life will only help you grow. All right, let's get back on track. So yeah, we talked about in order to get big, you got to go small. In bold, they show, and if anyone looked at or was watching Mega Camp, Gary Keller, put this on the big screen as far as what a domino effect would look like. And each domino that if you push over a small domino, like a 2-inch domino, at 56th domino, I think you would reach the moon or you would reach a certain planet just based off of how if they double in size or triple in size or whatever it is. But the point of that is, in order to get to your big someday goals, you really need to start small, and identifying small wins is definitely the most important thing you can do to get there. So as far as setting goals, long-term goals, short-term goals, what do you guys do, if anything, to hold yourselves accountable to those? You write them down? Yeah. Go ahead.
Tell my boss.
Okay,
She holds me accountable.
that's awesome. Yeah, I have a coach that holds me accountable. I have a session with him every single week, and we have goals every single week. If I don't hit those goals, it's yeah, I've had to hand over a check before to organizations that I'm not fond of because I didn't go on a certain number of appointments or add enough people to my database or just examples like that. Does anyone have like a accountability partner, a scripting partner, any colleagues that would hold you accountable to your goals? I highly recommend finding someone to hold you accountable, or else, and let's face it, how many people sign up for gym memberships saying that they're going to go work out every day? There's a study that I think it's 93% of people who buy gym memberships end up going one time a year. And it's usually right at the beginning of the year. Gym memberships are known, they know that if they could never be at full capacity, they could never be at half capacity of the memberships that they have based off of the size and space that they have. It's just not possible. Now, if you hire a personal trainer, how often are you going to go to the gym? Every time you have an appointment. If you don't show up when you have an appointment with your personal trainer, how are you going to feel?
But you gotta pay him.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, it could be accountability of either having to pay them. It could be accountability of, geez, they put time away in their day to meet me, to work with me. And then also at the same time, you don't want to disappoint that person. I mean, if we're talking about gyms, I had a friend that I would go work out with. I think we were down in Solon. We would go to the gym and work out. He lived in Chagrin Falls. I lived in Highland Heights. We said, we'll find a good common ground. We went to Anytime Fitness in Solon, and we would be there at 6:45, 7 o'clock. And there were a lot of days where he wouldn't show up, and if it was 7 o'clock, I'd say, his name was Tori. I said, Tori, where are you at? He's like, I'm sorry, man, I couldn't make it. There were days that I didn't show up. The only accountability that I had with him was I knew he was just as unaccountable as I was. So, so it's important to find someone that's super accountable. The gym that I go to now, there are classes. If you don't show up, doors close at 5:20. If you don't show up by 5:20, they shut the doors. All right. If you don't show up to a class that you're signed up for, you get fined, I think it's $12. I'm the first person in the gym. There's at least 300 members of this entire gym. I'm the first person in the gym that went up to the owner and said, $12 is not enough for me. I'd rather sleep in when my alarm goes off. If I'm up watching football the night before or out, doing something, or if my kid would kept me up at night, $12 easy. I'll pay $12 to stay in bed, no problem. I jumped my fee up to $50. So anytime I don't show up to a class that I'm signed up for, they charge me $50. It was really hard getting out of bed this morning, and I 100% would not have if I didn't have that accountability. $50. It's like, do I get out of bed or do I pay $50? So I chose to get out of bed and get to work.
That's what the guy named, his name, Grant Condor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he said, get your tail up
Yeah,
before the smoke, before the sun comes.
yeah.
Yeah. We get up at 4.
4 o'clock.
Um,
I'm not that crazy.
Yeah, but that's how you. Yeah,
There's a guy I follow. He's a real estate agent. His name's Ricky Caruth. He's out of Gulf Shores, Alabama. He wakes up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock every single day. And he always pushed, get up that early, get up that. I mean, it works for you great, but I would say don't wake up that early just for the sole purpose of waking up. Definitely have a purpose and meaning behind it.
yeah.
Make sure that you want, to accomplish something. After I work out, I come home, obviously I eat, I take a shower, I get ready for the day, but I make sure my house is clean, my dishes are done. Just so that my wife doesn't have to worry about it with our monster of a year and a half old running through the house like a crazy person. Just something I don't want her to have to worry about doing. So, it's wake up with purpose and meaning, and it's amazing how much you can get done, before the workday really starts. When people are still sleeping in the house, or you don't have to worry about your clients calling you, or getting paperwork over to another agent, or things like that. So it's pretty incredible what you can get done. When you're awake before the day starts. All right. So we talked about hiring a coach, having a script partner. One thing I found that was also really important about keeping me accountable was including my wife in a lot of my business and letting her know that I was going on X amount of appointments, or I made X amount of calls that day, or this, that, or whatever. She watches the checkbook pretty much as closely as I do, so she understands, how important it is for me to do the actions that I do. So if you have a spouse that is really supportive of you, I highly recommend asking them to keep you accountable, because ultimately, especially if they're, which I hope they would be part of your why, but if they're part of your why, then you definitely having them hold you accountable will really go a long way. And actually sitting down and having that conversation with them, saying, I want you to hold me accountable. I want you to make sure that I'm, doing the things that I need to be doing. It's been really, really helpful.
You hire people out to do things for you too, right? Like maintain your lawn. Is that good?
Yeah.
You free up your time.
So my coach always asks me, what do you do in your daily life that you can hire out that will give you more time? And I know exactly where he's going with it because it takes me at least 2 hours a day to 2 hours any given time whenever I do, cut my grass or do things like that. To where I've got the quote. The guy wants $25 to cut my grass, and he'll come do it once a week. And I'm like, no, it's too much money. I'll do it myself.
But your
So-
productivity is more work than $25.
Right.
Yeah.
It all depends. And for me, it's almost like therapy. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'll always put a podcast in and listen to it. But then at the same time,
It's therapy. That's good.
it's therapy, but at the same time, I could be doing a lot more with that time than listening to a podcast. That stuff's great, but we're real estate agents. We're in the car a lot. That's really, there's a good time for that. And that's when it is. And then anyone that lives in my neighborhood will tell you that my grass gets cut last out of anyone on the street. So I think hiring that out is gonna be soon on the horizon. So. Friends are definitely good people to talk, about your goals with and to keep you accountable. Obviously, you want to keep your information, personal information personal. But I've got a lot of friends that are in, say, a similar industry, as me, and I would classify that as sales. And, once a month we get together, we go out to a restaurant and grab beers and discuss how our month was and what we did well and what we didn't do well, where we struggled. And it's amazing. We're all very, very similar in the aspect that we, have days that are really difficult and we just got to push through it. And we talk about mindset, and people always think that I'm a genius because I always pull off bold lines or declare bold laws, and like, where do you come up with this stuff? Just I've learned it over time. But no, I always give credit to the program. So, all right. Well, does anyone have any questions about identifying a why, setting goals, being held accountable, anything along those lines? Really, I hope today you can go home and really think about what it is that's really important to you. Why you wake up in the morning, why your why. You could say why so many times in one sentence, but why is your why your why? So why do you want to, your example is kind of a rhetorical question, but why do you want to spend more time with your wife and your family? What does that mean to you? Right? Why do you want to invest in real estate? That's not a rhetorical question. Why do you want to invest in real estate?
Because I love it.
Yeah.
I just like houses.
You
I
like
always have.
houses?
So,
Now, did you say you want to buy your own house? Do you
Yeah.
want passive income? Do you want to flip? Do you want
all the above.
all the above?
I just, I've always had a dream of flipping houses.
Okay.
Because I like that end of it too.
Yeah.
But I also love helping people sell their houses. So
Yeah.
I kind of.
Goes hand in hand. What would it mean to you if you were able to, let's say, if you found a house that you could flip right now? What would that mean to you if you could buy a house, fix it up, and make a good $40,000-$50,000 profit on it?
That would probably be the highlight of my whole life because I mean, I'm a newer agent.
Sure.
I've been at Keller Williams for 5 years, but I've only been an agent for 3 months now.
Okay. Are you on Nancy's team?
Yeah.
And she makes everyone.
Yeah. Yes, I started as her transaction coordinator. But I don't know. I love the real estate world.
But you said it'll be the highlight of your life.
Yeah.
So what
So
would
far.
you do? Right. What would you do?
What would I do with it or what?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
How would that affect your life moving forward?
It would probably give me a lot of confidence to go out and then expand my business more than I am now.
Okay.
I feel like I am expanding it, but I'm newer. So having a milestone like that I would be able to meet now would probably propel me to the next level. I
Okay.
guess you would say.
Okay. What then?
I think I would just more heavily dive into doing this full time
Are you full-time now or part-time?
because I still work for Nancy as a transaction coordinator.
Gotcha. I see what you're saying.
That's-
Okay.
So I'm doing both right now.
You're in
and
real estate part-time.
I
You're in this
am,
building,
so
or
I'm-
you're in this building full-time.
Yes,
Gotcha.
but I do real estate for myself when, nights, weekends, in between times in the day when I can. Which is cool about my job. That's very unique
Yeah.
to my position. But I think right now I'm trying to figure out where is the line between doing this full time and keeping part-time is. So
Cool.
that's where I'm at.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, when you have goals, when you have big goals and when you have, your why, and when you achieve them, you gotta have satisfaction with it. If you don't have satisfaction once you achieve your goals, then it's a failure.
Right.
I've had those paydays where it's like, all I want to do is get to the finish line of this deal, and then you get that commission check, and you're like, okay, it's done. Like, I mean, it's great to be in a position like that where, you know, a nice commission check doesn't necessarily impact, you know, your entire life, but you want to, that's why your goals need to be super, super big, and then they can continue to get bigger and bigger. So that's why, I dug a little deep there as far as
No, that's
why is it
fine.
important.
Yeah.
Because I think I mentioned before, a lot of people say, well, my why is my family. Okay, why is it your family? You want to put your kids through school. You want to buy your wife a new car. You want to buy, you want to pay off your parents' house. There's some really, if you really dig deep into it, it can be really, really impactful. And you set goals to that. So, well, appreciate everyone coming in today. If there's ever anything I can do to help anyone, I'll go ahead and I'll write my number down. Feel free to reach out literally at any time about anything. I bug Colleen. Geez, it was the past 2 Saturdays in a row I called you. Yeah, I'm always happy to help. Can never do it on your own. That's one other really important thing. It is damn near impossible to have success on your own. Simple, it's not easy. That's always written on the walls, at mega camp or family reunion. Success is simple, not easy. So you need to get some help, along the way. So yeah, feel free to reach out if there's ever anything I can do to help you guys. I'm always more than happy. What's that? Oh, okay. All right, very good. Thank you guys for coming. And yeah, I hope to see you soon. The next session is going to be next Thursday at the same time. Don't know exactly which one it will be, but it will either be Pat Barman or Ryan DeLuca. So definitely tune in for that, and we'll see you guys then.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.